My name is Mike, and today we're going to talk about the Tobu wheels. They are an FM house brand as far as you can't get these anywhere else. They're just made for us. They are manufactured by a company called Titan 7, and these wheels are a fully forged wheel, meaning that they're not rotary spun, they're not flow formed. They're actually a forged wheel, that the whole wheel is a blank that's then machined out for the face. But that means that being a fully forged wheel is that they're super, super strong. So other wheels such as like low pressure cast or even high pressure cast wheels, they are pretty common. Forged wheels are much, much stronger because the forging process actually forces all of the molecules and components of the metallurgy to be more uniform, really, to try to boil it down. And that makes the wheel much stronger, much more resistant to bending, warping, breaking, that kind of stuff. If you want to see an even nerdier explanation of the forged wheels or what it means to have a forged wheel, we have a couple of links that we'll post down in the comments below, so that way you can check out the document and the informational stuff that Titan 7 provides for their forged wheels. Let's talk about the fitment, because that's what most of you are interested in, right? We want to put these on our Miatas. So just to run through some of the specs here, these guys, what we offer, you can see that they're quite wide. They are a 17 by 9, and that is currently the only size that we offer. And we'll cover more about that in a little bit. But these are a 4 by 100, meaning that this is going to be a wheel that would fit the ND generation because it's also a plus 45 millimeter offset, which is appropriate for a 9-inch wheel on the ND generation, 4th generation. Technically, you could bolt it up to an NA or NB because it does have the correct bolt pattern for it. The problem is that the offset is not correct. So you'd actually have issues where the inside face or the inside lip would probably contact suspension components. So if you really, really want to put these on an NA or NB, you could, but you'd probably need at least a 10 millimeter wheel spacer to make it work. But these are really designed for the ND because of the offset that they have. And also it's tough to get 23-inch tall tires that are suitable for a 17 by 9 that you want to put on an NA or NB Miata. The center bore is 67.1 millimeter. The weight, which I'm sure a lot of you are interested in for these forged wheels, one of the other benefits of a forged wheel over such as like a flow formed or other kind of cast wheel is generally going to be lighter. And these are 14.99 pounds, which is very light. These wheels, they are actually rated for 550 kilograms. And why is that important? Well, 550 kilograms is actually 50 kilograms over the industry standard rating, which is the J2530, which is rated at 500 kilograms. And in Freedom units, that's 100 or 1,102 pounds is that national or that industry standard. So ours being 550 kilograms or 1,213 pounds, the rating, basically we wanted to give ourselves a little bit extra margin. So just like the Kogekis, we have them rated for a stronger than the industry standard rating for aftermarket wheels. To put that in perspective, the factory wheels are actually rated for only 330 kilograms or 728 pounds. So this is definitely a much, much stronger wheel than the factory. So being that these are 14.99 pounds, that's actually a little over a pound lighter than the factory the factory club wheels that are 17 by 7s. And then they're more than 3 pounds lighter per wheel than the factory GT wheels, the 17 by 7s that come on the 4th generation Miatas. And they're also 2 inches wider, obviously, so you're getting a lot of performance for even less weight than the factory stuff while being way, way stronger. Also, because of this strength, they actually do feature a limited lifetime warranty through Flyin Miata. So if you are the original purchaser of a Tobu wheel, then say if you experience some kind of a failure, or it has whether it be a crack that happens when you're driving, or if you experience some other failure of the wheel, not caused by going over a big pothole or hitting a curb or doing something, getting in an accident. Obviously we can't cover that kind of stuff, but if there's an issue, we're just driving the car normally on the street or even on the track, you're covered if you're the original purchaser. Now, even the finish, this is a pretty high quality finish, but we offer a 1-year warranty on the finish. So if for whatever reason you have an issue where it starts flaking or something like that, which I would not ever expect that to happen, but if it does, we've got you covered. The other thing is that this gives you several different options for tire sizes. So normally, if you want to fit a 17x9 wheel on your ND, say this is going to be a car that you need to fit in a certain class, or you simply don't want to do any kind of fender rolling, but you want to fit a nice big meaty tire on your 17x9, you can do a 235/40 size tire. And unless you're doing something like a Hoosier or some kind of a slick tire that has a very square edge, most street tire or street-oriented 235/40s will fit on your 9-inch wide wheel on your ND Miata without needing to roll your fenders. If you're assuming that you're not running really, really strange alignment or something like that, of course. But if you're looking to do an even more aggressive or wider tire, or something like a Hoosier that has a very square sidewall, then you could run a 245/40, something a little bit wider, or there are even some 255s out there. But of course, if you do anything like that, 245 or above, you're probably going to be rolling your fenders and or doing a little bit of fender liner, that plastic material on the inside. It sticks out in a few spaces, and so you may need to use a heat gun to help smoosh that plastic away to getting some more clearance, along with rolling your fenders a little bit for those bigger, wider tires. We designed these wheels to have all the brake clearance. So these will fit all factory options, whether you have the one piston calipers that are just pullers, or if you have the Brembos, no big deal. Tons and tons of room. You even have plenty of room for any of our big brake kits. So if you want to look at our little big brake kit, or even our 6-piston big Mama Jamba brake kit, they all fit. You'll likely have brake clearance for pretty much else that's out there. I can't guarantee other brands because we haven't tested everything. These wheels, they do have some pretty interesting features on them. And you might be wondering, okay, well, how did you come about with this design? Why did you choose this particular spoke count? Yada, yada, yada. Simply put, a lot of it comes down to we like the way it looks. Hopefully you do too. But we like the aesthetics. We wanted to keep it relatively simple and straightforward because we figured that most people that are buying these wheels for their Miata are likely racing them. So you want something that's not overly crazy. And if you're not buying these for your race Miata, then likely you want something that still is going to look really nice and be easier to clean, that kind of thing. Nothing groundbreaking here, but one of the cool features that you can probably see in one of these close-up shots that Travis has been so kind to do is that these spokes actually have these little pockets or grooves almost. And so the shape of these spokes is actually kind of like an I-beam. And not only does it look cool, but it also offers a lot more strength and rigidity. So these spokes are much less likely to bend or twist, but those little pockets allow us to shave out just a little bit of material on both sides without sacrificing that strength. One of the other things about the design for these wheels, of course, we didn't want to just say, hey, these look cool, please make them for us. We also had Titan 7 do a full structural analysis using FEA, or finite element analysis, for those of you that know what that is. If you don't worry. Basically, they take this design as a 3D model, and they input some other calculations to show what kind of material it's made out of, and then they'll put it in a basically digital stress test, and they'll see what components might be weak, and if they have any points that have issues or think that that could be a potential weak spot because of the design or the material, then they can change that digitally before we even make it into a real live wheel. So that was something that we did beforehand because, again, we want these wheels to withstand the test of time. We want them to be strong. We want them to be reliable. So these center caps, they are optional equipment, meaning that if you get just the wheels by themselves, they are not included, but we do have them separately. They're not terribly expensive. They are a aluminum face with a plastic backing plate, and that plastic just makes it easier to clip them into space and you can see that they sit flush. So it's a very clean look. It doesn't stick out. Very easy on the eyes. The reason also why they're not a standard feature is because, again, we expect a lot of the Miata owners that are getting these wheels are going to race their car, and because it does have that plastic clip to hold it in place on the back, your wheels get really hot because they're right next to really hot brakes if you're driving on the track, and that plastic does melt. If you're planning on tracking these wheels and you want the center caps to look good on the street, just make sure that you remove them before you go to the track. That way you don't accidentally come back missing a few center caps. So these are just standard valve stem holes, nothing special. You can fit any kind of standard valve stem in them, whether it be a rubber valve stem, off the shelf from anywhere. You can fit aluminum valve stems in them. My personal preference is to use an aluminum or some kind of a hard valve stem, just because it's a little bit more convenient to air them up if you're using a longer tool to reach. But either one works just fine, no big deal. There's plenty of room. You can fit TPMS sensors. So if these are going on a car, a Miata that has TPMS sensors, they will fit. No problem. Stock ones or most of the aftermarket variants, they've got the same basic clearance and shape here in the valley where that hole is. So no problem there. But these are the two options that we have right now. We've got the bronze and then the gunmetal. They're both very attractive colors in my mind. These wheels, just like our Kogekis, have a knurled bead seat. So this knurl means that it grips onto the bead of the tire and prevents the tire from slipping or rotating against the wheel. Thanks again for watching. As always, we certainly appreciate it. I appreciate you bearing with me. Lots of interesting, slightly nerdy content, but hopefully everybody that has tuned in today is into that kind of stuff. We appreciate it. And remember, kids, stay in spool.